chosen one, heaven has not merely stood still and watched you pass through the storms. A quiet movement has begun, lifting you from your former position and drawing you closer to what has been prepared. I want to tell you this with complete gentleness, yet also with enough clarity that you will no longer doubt the changes taking shape within you. Your outward circumstances may not have changed all at once, but you no longer awaken with the same confusion you once carried. An indescribable calmness is emerging within you, along with an ability to remain steady even when the answer has not fully arrived. You no longer respond to every change with the fear you once felt, because something deep within you has begun to understand that you have not been abandoned. What you are experiencing is not temporary excitement, but maturity formed through many months of endurance, prayer, and learning not to allow circumstances to determine who you are. For a long time, I have watched every step you have taken, not with condemning eyes or while waiting for you to make a mistake, but with the care of one who knows how hard you have had to try. Every sacrifice no one mentioned has been seen. The times you quietly surrendered the more favorable portion to someone else, the days you continued fulfilling your responsibilities while inwardly exhausted, and the moments when you chose silence instead of responding from pain were never insignificant. The world may see only the outcome, but I see the motive behind every decision. I know there were times when you could have hurt someone with the very truth you possessed, yet you chose not to turn knowledge into a weapon. You could have answered coldness with coldness, but you guarded your heart against becoming hardened. These silent choices formed a quality within you that praise could never give and criticism could never remove. You once believed those were merely ordinary days you had to survive. But they were actually the places where your true character was most clearly revealed. When no one applauded and you still did what was right, your faithfulness became purer. When you were misunderstood, but refused to diminish someone else merely to protect your image, maturity within you became stronger. When your heart was hurting, but you still refused to spread more pain into another person's life, you demonstrated that adversity had no authority to rewrite your identity. I have never overlooked any such moment. Each time you chose compassion instead of bitterness, another layer of strength was formed. Each time you preserved integrity, when no one was checking, your foundation was laid more deeply. Now, what was built in darkness is beginning to support you as the light gradually arrives. If your life were a piece of music, most people would notice only the brilliant passages, the moments when you smiled, succeeded, or spoke with hope. They rarely heard the silences between the melodies, where you had to recover your breath after a shock, sit alone gathering the broken pieces, or attempt to believe once more after enduring too many disappointments. But I heard it all. I heard the brief prayers you whispered, when you no longer had the strength for long words. I knew the nights when you lay still, while your mind remained filled with questions. I saw you wipe away your tears before stepping outside, so that no one would know what you had just endured. It was within those hidden spaces that true resilience was formed. You were not shaped by the days when everything went well, but by the way you preserved gentleness throughout the harshest seasons. What drew heaven's attention was never the image you tried to maintain before a crowd. I am not persuaded by an outward appearance of strength when your inner life is being neglected, nor do I love you more, because you have become skilled at hiding vulnerability. What is precious is the way you allowed pain to expand your compassion instead of turning it into a wall. You were betrayed, yet you did not allow betrayal to teach you to distrust everyone. You were disregarded, yet you did not use new opportunities to humiliate others. You witnessed the darker side of humanity, but still refused to abandon your belief that kindness has meaning. You know that truth can be sharp. Yet you learned how to speak honestly without deliberately humiliating the listener. You carry strength in your hands, but choose to use it for protection rather than domination. This union of gentleness and courage is evidence that you have matured through refinement. Therefore, do not be surprised when you notice that certain things no longer disturb you as they once did. Judgments that used to keep you awake no longer possess enough authority to control your entire day. People who once made you question your worth may continue speaking in the same way, but you no longer listen with the ears of someone who needs their confirmation. Stability is being established, not because every difficulty has disappeared, but because you have stopped giving the key to your peace to external circumstances. You are learning how to walk without explaining every decision, love while maintaining boundaries, and forgive without returning to unsafe places. This is genuine elevation, not merely being placed in a new position, but being released from what once pulled you downward so easily. I am leading you into a season where the qualities refined in silence will become necessary. You will be given opportunities requiring wisdom, relationships requiring discernment, and responsibilities that cannot be managed through temporary emotion alone. If you had never learned to remain calm while misunderstood, you could easily lose your direction when many people begin watching you. If you had never learned faithfulness in small matters, expansion might cause you to forget the original purpose. But you have endured enough to understand that position is not more important than character. Achievement is not valuable when it costs your peace, and the recognition of a crowd cannot replace an upright heart. The lessons that once caused you pain will now become protection, helping you enter something greater without losing yourself. Beloved child, do not use the support that is coming to prove that those who doubted you were wrong. You do not need to turn the new season into a stage for retaliation. I am raising you, not so that you may stand above others, but so that you may see farther, help more people, and live more faithfully, according to what has been entrusted to you. As opportunities increase, allow gratitude to increase with them. When your voice is heard, use it to encourage those who feel invisible. When you enter a spacious place, do not forget how the narrow days taught you compassion for those still trapped. The most beautiful restoration is not making others regret that they once underestimated you, but no longer needing their regret in order to feel valuable. Now receive the calmness growing within you as evidence that you are no longer the person you were in the former season. You passed through fire without becoming a flame that burns others. You walked through coldness without losing your warmth. You encountered deception but preserved sincerity, and you endured deep wounds without choosing to live through revenge. This carries greater weight than any title you could receive. I am gathering every part of your journey that once appeared disconnected, transforming painful days into discernment, waiting into a foundation, and quiet faithfulness into a door leading toward a more spacious season. Continue walking humbly, because what is now beginning to blossom is not the result of one fortunate moment, but the fruit of a heart that has been tested and still remains gentle, upright, and willing to love after everything you have endured. The pressure you have recently felt does not come entirely from work, family, finances, or relationships. It is also evidence that I am reconstructing your life from depths your eyes cannot yet perceive. You have tried to find the cause in your crowded schedule, unpaid bills, the attitudes of others, or circumstances that have not changed. Yet the more you search, the more difficult it becomes to name that heaviness. There are days when everything outwardly continues as usual, yet your heart feels unsettled, as though something significant is moving. You awaken feeling that familiar things no longer fit, become easily exhausted by conversations that once did not trouble you, and feel urged to reorganize many areas of your life. Beloved child, you are not losing your direction. I am shaking former foundation, so that you will not continue building the future upon what has already cracked. The disruption you feel is not evidence that you are failing. It may be the sound of structures that no longer fit being dismantled. I am rearranging things you cannot see for yourself. There were doors you prayed would open, but I knew that if you entered them, you would be drawn far from peace and spend many years trying to return. There were relationships you continued holding because you feared loneliness, even though those very relationships repeatedly caused you to question your worth. There were invitations that appeared attractive but concealed control, exploitation, or a price you were not yet able to recognize. I am closing what is wrong before you place your entire future within it. I am removing from your journey those who loved only the version of you they could control. Those who wanted to remain near while you always yielded, yet became uncomfortable when you began establishing boundaries. Their departure may hurt, but not every loss is a disaster. Some separations are mercy protecting you from a longer cycle. During this process, what was hidden is also beginning to be revealed. You may notice changes in the attitudes of certain people, words that once appeared harmless, suddenly exposing true motives, or a plan that seemed stable beginning to display many signs of weakness. Do not panic when truth is brought into the light. What is exposed is not meant to make you distrustful, but to stop you from continuing to invest your trust where honesty is absent. I am showing you what has quietly drained you, which habits have stolen your attention, and which choices caused you to repeat the same pain in different forms. I am also pruning away what cannot accompany you into the new season. Pruning is not always comfortable because you often remain attached to what is familiar, even when it no longer produces anything good. But if I allowed everything old to remain in place, you would have no room to receive the more mature things that are approaching. Because you did not understand this process, you repeatedly blamed yourself. You assumed you were too sensitive, too difficult to approach, or responsible for ruining every relationship. You wondered why you could no longer remain as cheerful as before, and why what was once enough had become restrictive. Hear me as I comfort you. There is nothing wrong with you, merely because you no longer fit what once kept you in a smaller version of yourself. You may be growing faster than the environment around you, seeing patterns more clearly than before, and learning to respect inner signals, instead of continually dismissing them to please others. I am not repairing you as though you were broken. I am correcting what surrounds you, so that it no longer distorts the way you see yourself. I am bringing order into what was chaotic, light into what was unclear, and clarity into places where you lived for too long through uncertainty and assumption. Yet while I am rebuilding, you must take this warning seriously. Do not return to the place from which I have led you. Do not return to a relationship merely because one lonely night causes you to remember the pleasant moments and forget why you had to leave. Do not contact someone again after they repeatedly broke you, merely because they sent a beautiful apology without demonstrating change through action. Do not restore a habit that stole your peace, simply because it once helped you temporarily forget emptiness. Neither should you seek comfort in the very place where you once lost yourself. Familiarity can make you feel safe for a few moments, but what is familiar is not necessarily healthy. There were flames you once called warmth, only because you had stood in the cold for too long. Yet when you moved closer, they continued burning the very parts I was healing. I know you are tempted to return to former things. When the new journey is not yet clear, the past often becomes attractive because at least you know what you will have to confront there. You may believe that this time you are stronger and therefore will not be wounded as before. You tell yourself that you only want to speak once more, visit briefly, or try again a habit that appears harmless. But, beloved child, what once bound you rarely returns, wearing its original frightening appearance. It usually arrives gently, declares that everything has changed, and promises that it will not take very much. Remember that I did not lead you out of a cycle so that you could prove your strength by entering it again. Strength is not standing near the edge without falling. Often, strength is recognizing that you no longer need to approach the edge at all. What I want you to protect now is not only the physical distance from former people or places, but also the changes being formed within you. You learned not to react immediately when provoked. Do not return to arguments merely to prove that you are right. You learned how to say no. Do not allow guilt to make you agree to every demand again. You learned to recognize manipulation. Do not call it love merely because the other person knows how to say what you want to hear. You learned how to be alone without treating it as failure. Do not rush to fill the emptiness with whoever appears. These developments may appear small, but they form the foundation of the person you are becoming. Every time you preserve a boundary, you are confirming that healing is more valuable than temporary comfort. This warning is not intended to frighten you, but to prevent further pain, mistakes, and confusion before you move forward. I do not want you to spend another year recovering from something you are already wise enough to refuse today. I do not want you to return through a closed door and then have to ask once again to be rescued from the same room. Understand that protection sometimes appears as distance, the ending of a conversation, an invitation that no longer comes, or the loss of peace whenever you consider a former path. Do not force yourself to return, merely because you want to prove that you have forgiven. Forgiveness does not require renewed access. You may release bitterness while keeping the door closed. You may desire good for someone while honestly recognizing that they no longer belong in your journey. In the coming days, observe what brings deep peace and what returns you to familiar instability. Do not listen only to promises. Examine consistency. Do not look only at the outward appearance of an opportunity. Consider what it requires you to sacrifice. Do not make significant decisions in moments of loneliness, panic, or hunger for recognition. Give yourself time, because what truly belongs to you will never require you to betray wisdom in order to preserve it. I will not hurry you into a new season and then leave you to manage alone. I will guide you one step at a time. But you must stop running backward toward former places whenever you cannot see the entire road ahead. Beloved child, remain at peace before the pressure you cannot yet explain. Not every feeling of heaviness means that something harmful is approaching. Sometimes, it is evidence that you are shedding old layers that remained attached for too long. I am removing fear, dependence, the need for universal acceptance, and the habit of continually doubting the peaceful voice within. Reconstruction may cause you to feel empty for a time, because the old has departed while the new has not yet fully appeared. But that emptiness is not abandonment. It is a cleansed space where better things may take root. Therefore, stop blaming yourself. Continue moving forward, remain attentive, and honor the boundaries I helped you establish. Do not return to places that caused you to lose your voice, dignity, and peace. Do not resurrect cycles that cost you so much to escape. I led you out, not so that you would stand outside longing for the fire, but so that you would recognize that you deserve a place that does not need to burn in order to feel warm. Everything is not working against you. Many things are being repaired for your sake. I am closing what is wrong, revealing what was hidden, cutting away what no longer produces good fruit, and preparing a new foundation, strong enough for you to enter the next season. Without carrying the chains of the past, beloved child, your standing has changed, because you have demonstrated that you can carry greater responsibility while preserving the sincerity, compassion, and purity I placed within you. True authority does not belong to the person who speaks the most, appears the most prominent, or forces an entire room to notice them. It is entrusted to someone who honors their word when no one is checking, acts uprightly when deception appears easier, and preserves a tender heart even after being treated unjustly. I do not measure you by the degree to which others applaud, nor do I weigh your value according to what is displayed before the crowd. I look upon the choices you make in hidden places, when only you and your conscience are present, and you still choose what is right, even when it means walking alone. The elevation you are entering is not a reward to display, nor a badge proving you are superior to anyone else. It is recognition of endurance tested over time. I watched seasons when you thought you were merely trying to survive. But in my eyes, your capacity was being enlarged. I saw leadership forming in the way you remained calm amid chaos, maturity emerging when you stopped reacting according to former wounds, and depth being built each time you continued moving without encouragement. Others may have seen only exhaustion upon your face, but I saw someone learning to carry responsibility without losing compassion, learning to become strong without becoming hardened, and learning to possess authority without needing to control others. Look back upon the road you have traveled, and you will recognize that you have changed more than you imagined. You sought me while everything remained unclear, not only during the days when answers were obvious. You continued practicing discipline while your emotions rose and fell, after excitement disappeared, and when no one knew what you were struggling against. You chose forgiveness, even when those who wounded. You never apologized, never acknowledged what they had done, and perhaps still do not understand the consequences of their actions. You patiently rebuilt peace through ordinary mornings and very small decisions. Refusing to return to an old argument, refusing to allow one insult to determine the entire day, and refusing to give fear the authority to continue defining your future. These things are not expressions of weakness. They show that you have begun to govern what once governed you. Previously, rejection could cause you to question your worth. Now you understand that a closed door cannot decide who you are. Previously, another person's silence could make you panic. Now you know how to wait without rushing after them in search of reassurance. Previously, painful memories could draw you into days of chaos. Now you know how to recognize them, acknowledge the emotions, and still refuse to allow the past to lead. This is authority, not the power to command others, but the ability to remain steady when outside forces attempt to make you lose direction. I have never overlooked this quiet evidence. Every time you restrained a word that could have wounded someone, I saw it. Every time you left an unhealthy situation. Instead of remaining to prove that you were right, I saw it. Every time you chose honesty. Even when truth could cost you an immediate advantage, I saw it. These decisions did not create great noise, but they gave weight to your life. They showed that you do not merely desire to receive more, but are becoming trustworthy enough to preserve what is entrusted to you. Perseverance does not only carry you into the future, it transforms you into someone capable of entering that future without destroying what you receive. There comes a point in the process of maturity when you are no longer treated as a beginner. Lessons become deeper, choices require greater discernment, and responsibilities no longer concern only you. This is where you now stand. I have brought you into a quiet space without crowds, music of victory, or anyone announcing your achievement before the world. There is only you and me, together with the pages of your life, opened for review. I considered the nights when you wept silently, but still chose kindness the following morning. I considered the times when you had every reason to retaliate, but decided not to allow pain to turn you bitter. I considered the way you protected honesty, even when it cost you companionship. Within that moment, the past no longer stands before you to block your path. It is placed behind you as a witness to everything you overcame. Failures are no longer sentences. They have become lessons. Rejections are no longer evidence that you were inadequate. They have become adjustments, guiding you in the proper direction. The days when you were disregarded no longer force you to pursue recognition. They taught you to build your worth upon what cannot be taken away. I look upon the entire journey and see that you are no longer someone who easily sacrifices peace in order to be accepted. You have learned to remain with what is true, even when it makes you different. Therefore, your responsibility is changing. You will recognize that your words must be considered more carefully because they can strengthen or wound those who come to you. You will recognize that not every open door should be entered, because advancement is not only receiving more opportunities, but also knowing which opportunities to refuse. You will also understand that influence is not measured by how many people know your name, but by the quality of what you plant within their lives. When I entrust you with more, I do not want you to become louder. I want you to become steadier. This is not so that you may stand above others, but so that you may bend down and lift the weary without being drawn into their chaos. Remember that readiness does not mean you have become perfect. There are still things you need to learn, places that need healing, and days when you feel vulnerable. But you have learned not to flee from the process. You know how to return when you lose direction, ask for help when you cannot support everything alone, and acknowledge mistakes without allowing shame to consume you. This humility makes you trustworthy. Someone who never acknowledges limitations can easily misuse authority, but someone who understands their daily need for me will know how to preserve an upright heart when greater influence is entrusted to them. Beloved child, do not return to doubt, merely because no one has organized a celebration of your growth. The most important changes are rarely announced with noise. They appear in your new calmness, in the way you no longer need to win every argument, in your ability to remain silent before provocation, and in confidence that does not need to diminish anyone else. You will know that your position has changed, when the things that once pulled you downward no longer possess the same authority, when former environments no longer appeal to you, and when you begin caring more about responsibility than recognition. I am leading you forward, but I am also reminding you to keep your heart in humility. Do not allow future recognition to make you forget the days when no one saw you. Do not allow great doors to make you disregard the small steps that formed the person you are today. Continue being kind, honest, and disciplined as you were when no one knew your name. This is how you protect what I am entrusting to you. Your new position does not require you to become someone else. It requires you to live more fully as the authentic person refined in silence. Now move forward without rushing to prove that you are ready. Your life itself will demonstrate it. Allow peace to guide your words, discernment to direct your choices, and compassion to keep the strength within you from becoming pride. I have seen everything you quietly overcame, and I know you can carry more without losing your beautiful nature. Your responsibility has changed. The door is opening, and you are being called forward not because you never stumbled, but because after every fall, you chose to rise with a heart that was deeper, more honest, and brighter than before.